ladies. I'm not going to even ask you why you said that. Alright, so this place. Alright, come on. One for the church or one for the people will even keep you to scream at you. Anyways, guys, it's a better view from this side either way. So St. Clement had an anchor around his neck when he died, right? And he was buried right there, under that anchor, in the main altar. Yes? This, yes. Well, let me tell you, because I don't think my colleague Ahmed covered. Come closer. So the legend goes like this. He's a little bit, he'd make a summary. So the problem was this. Clement lived, so he was the fourth pope, but he actually worked for Trajan. And working for Trajan and being a Christian became what we call a conflict of interest. Because he used to be the spokesman in the squares and speak about the laws that he passed. By becoming a Christian, he started converting people to Christianity, which went against Trajan's interest. That's why he was tossed into the Black Sea. Okay, so it's political, remember. But in 400 years later, Cyril and Methodius found a skeleton with an anchor around its neck. How lucky is that? Because they were sent from Rome to find a relic. Because what would be a church without a relic? So they found on the beach a skeleton with an anchor around its neck. Ka-ching! And they brought it back. And it's buried underneath there. Don't ask me whose it is because I have no idea. It's St. Clement as far as I'm concerned. Now, have a look at, you say we have Peter and Paul over there. How are they dressed? Can you see some of the apostles? Isaiah, Jeremiah. How are they dressed? Are they dressed? Look on both sides. Same sandals with the arch. Same sandals, but is the outfit the same? No. They look like Roman senators. You know who changed all that? They look much better dressed. Constantine did not want to embrace the Christianity of the poor. He wanted rich people's Christianity. I call it imperial Christianity. He put Jesus on a throne. Jesus, you saw in the arch, was represented being close to the apostle, not on a throne in them below. I'm not sure if you are with me. You understand what I mean? So there's always this thing, and I'm not even going to mention that the Jesus that you see right now is a representation of the god Apollo. It started being used after the 5th century. That's a different story. Right. Now, in the middle we have a cross with Jesus on it, obviously, and with the 12 doves represented the 12 apostles. And right above that there's a hand, like the hand of God holding the whole world. And the thing is, we have a representation of this plant springing up. You see, some kind of wine, some kind of plant springing up from the cross, and a snake at the foot of the cross. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. See, in the book of Genesis, we speak about crushing the head of the snake. So that may mean something to some of you. And the little tiny figurines are doctors of the church. Doctors of the church is a title granted to some of the people within the church, and in those people there are also 2 women, which is the higher position granted to a woman within the Catholic Church. And that's gold, in case you're wondering. There's gold filigrane up in the main apse, and also on the ceiling. This church was commissioned in 1108 by Pascal II, the Pope at the time. Not the ceiling. The ceiling is Baroque. and it's from the 1700s, and it was commissioned by Clement the 11th. I'm sure you're not going to remember all the names, so that's why I don't overemphasize the names. What about the floor? Do you like the floor? Not as much as the floor. That's very beautiful because Baroque, the Baroque style is described as no place left undecorated. The floor, it's much more an interesting story because if you see the Colosseum bare as it is today, it's because most of the decorations are underneath your feet.
We'll give it a tonight.
Yeah, well, that is marble from the Colosseum and other pagan temples or pagan buildings. And the Cosmati brothers are the ones that took all the marble, cut it in little pieces, and just made all these patterns. And this is why it's called the Cosmatesque floor.
This is from the Colosseum.
No, it's not the floor, it's the marble from there. That's why we have the holes. That's why we have the holes. There's a lot of things that very, very yeah, well, I've been here so many times. Be careful, mind the steps. You have to mind where you want to move because all these wires and all these lines are underneath this plop it in. Mind the step, everybody. Alright, so we have a 12th century basilica, so that was commissioned, the level up there was commissioned in 1208. This is the original 4th century basilica. Now your next question is going to be, if they had a basilica, why they build another one on top of it? It's very easy, because they didn't know this one existed. And I'll explain to you why. In 1084, a long time ago, the city was invaded by the Normans. Now, what happened is they destroyed this whole neighborhood. by destroying the neighborhood and killing most of the population from the collective mind of the people, this disappeared. The other problem is in the year 1000, this was declared unsafe. So they filled it up with rubble all the way to the ceiling, and that's how it was left. When they started building that in 1108, they had no idea what was underneath here. They had no clue and no idea. Which means that they started building on top of it, thinking that maybe it was a Roman temple. It's the most important thing you need to remember. There is a technique called damnatio memoriae in Latin, means the damnation of the memory, cancelling the past and building something new on top. Which usually meant if it was a temple that was pagan, you would build a Christian church on top. And it worked all throughout the city of Rome. That's why you have all this layering of temples and churches on top. I'm sure you have asked yourself this question. But this technique, called damnatio memoriae, the damnation of the memory, means that you cancel whatever was before you. Maybe I'm properly translated, but that's what it means from Latin, translated word by word. And they started building this, and who discovered it? In 1865, so much later on in time, that church up there was given as a gift to the Irish Dominicans. There was a lot of persecution happening in Ireland at the time. And it was given in this Father Joseph Belluli, whose face you saw there at the entrance, if you are curious to see how he looks like. He came in here and started hearing water. Can you hear water? Not as of now. He started hearing water, and he couldn't sleep at night. Everybody thought he was crazy, he had one too many Guinnesses, whatever the reason was. One night he couldn't help himself anymore, took a pickaxe and started hitting. And that's how he got to this level. He figured out there's something else underneath that main basilica. And that's how they discovered this level. Unfortunately, during his lifetime, he only got to the 4th century basilica and never all the way down, because we have 2 more levels to see.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Now, what would be a good saint if he hadn't performed a miracle? And let me show you such a miracle. You need to perform at least 2 in order to become a saint, in case you're interested. And it was that guy, you remember that Giovanni Battista was in charge of this place? Alright. So, let me ask you this question. What do you think? Try to find a spot. No worries. I'm trying. What do you think was the first phrase in Italian?
First what?
The first sentence in Italian. Praise God. Good try. Another one. Mamma mia. The name of the Lord. You guys are on the wrong pathway right here. Think of bad words.
No.
Sheep. That's not a bad word.
No.
Okay.
What?
See?
Off with his hand.
The sixth sentence in Old Italian. A bad word. Bad words. Not nice. Not praise God. Not Mamma Mia. Something else. Alright, so over there you have a story. And the story goes kind of like this. Sicinius. Sir, you need to come a little bit closer because all these people are saying the same thing in. Let me see if this guy's one.
He converted Theodora then to be a Christian.
She converted him. It says that even Cecilius also,
He converted one Theodora, the one in yellow.
Cecilius,
She became
That's her
a
husband,
Christian.
the emperor.
Unfortunately, she left
He converted later.
every day at the same time.
And then later
And what happened was, her husband thought that, she was going shopping. No, you know what she said. And one day he decided to follow her. While he was following her, they ended up in what we would call today a church. And he discovered that Kenneth was there preaching. Now, many Italian men even nowadays, he kind of a little bit upset. You know, you do agree with me, you got a little bit
They're
mad.
celebrating Mass.
Just a little bit.
Yes.
And what he
They
did,
seem to be
he said,
praying or with the Mass.
he came with some people, okay, very rich man, he came with some stuff.
And on the right, I'm not too sure they're pointing
And
that
they said,
man
get
there.
coming out
Oh,
of my
that's
house.
Sicinius there. See how he's grabbing his